Welcome to the show, guys. Happy Wednesday. Here back on the drive with you guys, trying to get everything out here for 7 a.m. for you guys, for your commute, for your drive, and you can enjoy all day long here. Listen, we got a fun episode here. I got Jim online, and we are talking about draft or pass running backs, guys. Running backs, should you draft them or should you pass on them? Yeah.
That doesn't work.
Yeah, the light applause. Like, yeah, I'm going to pass. You get the light applause. So
No. I don't think that's a good one, man. Why not just, don't you have I thought you had a bomb drop, like a pew.
No, we're rolling. This is a perfect pass because it's like, we're gonna pass on them. No, that's okay. You can have them, right? You're kind of applauding for your opponent to take that, your idiot league mate to take them. So you're anyway. Draft or pass running backs, Jim. I'm excited to dive into this. How are you doing, by the way? How are you going? How's it going?
Well, I'm doing fine, but how are you doing, counselor? Why don't you tell everybody what happened last night? We're like getting ready to do our draft, and I'm like, hey man, your turn is up on our slow draft that we're doing right now, the Dynasty League. Where were you last night? Tell everybody.
Dude, it's been a crazy month, but it's been a blessing of a month. We got the newborn baby. We had my daughter's 7th, birthday. So we had, that going on. Then my mom had a stroke. Thank God she's recovering. She's in rehab. She should be coming home soon. But yesterday I had a wisdom tooth that had a deep cavity and it was so painful. And I was at the emergency dentist yesterday getting that extracted. So I'm getting my teeth pulled. We got a dynasty draft going to boot. So it's funny because I'm here like on top of all this stuff going on, trying to take care of family. I'm getting messages and my inbox saying, you're on the clock. Yeah, I'm getting my teeth pulled right now. And to boot, I'm on the clock in this dynasty league that Jim and I are on. Dude, it's been a wild month, but I'm kind of glad this is kind of all coming out in May so that we are June 1st hits and we hit that on-ramp to full flow fantasy football season. It's been wild, dude. Absolutely wild. And I'm on the clock to boot. So it's been crazy.
Yes.
Speaking, let's go to the latest news and notes here. Aside from my personal latest news and notes, thanks for sharing, guys. First of all, smash it, tap it, slap it. I tell everybody, smash it, tap it, slap it. Leave a thumbs up, guys. We're gonna get content to you guys daily. Grab the 16-round draft solution. If you haven't got 16 rounds, grab the solution. You'll be light years out of the competition. Grab a ticket to the Sports Summit. It's a virtual conference. We got Trey Benson. We got amazing talent. Kyron Williams, Pat Frymuth coming to this thing. It's going to be amazing. Grab it below. You can combo them below. We also got a credit option as well. It used to be PayPal. Now it's credit as well. You can grab your tickets below. But I want to talk a little bit, Jim, here on some latest news and notes before getting the show. We're going to do this before every show. And you guys can feel free to either go to the timestamps or just forward past the news if you're not. When I listen to shows, I love hearing kind of what the breaking news is. I love hearing things that are going on kind of around the league. And it's kind of off season, but I'm so fascinated about stuff. And I also want to hear Jim's kind of comment on stuff as well. First thing I want to talk about, Jim, is David Johnson. He was the guy that endorsed the Counselor brand back in 2016 before he broke out. I had a fantasy frame before the Counselor brand. He endorsed the brand, so I knew David Johnson. We had a falling out after he had a bad week. He came out, he said he was going to play a week. I think it was 2018 or something. And then he came out for one drive and I smashed his rookie card. He blocked me. But either way, David Johnson is now retired. Thoughts on that? I mean, is this even kind of relevant now? It's kind of old news.
It's with a lot of these retirement announcements, I'm like, dude, are you still in the league? I mean, I think it's like, you can't fire me. I quit. It's that kind of a thing. It's like, dude, I think you were kind of fired years ago. He was great back in the day, but he has not been relevant in the 2020s at all. And so, thanks for the fantasy. Thanks for the fantasy goodness you gave us back in the day. But good luck. Good luck with your retirement. That's really all I have to say, man. There's not much. I haven't thought about that player in years. So
another guy we haven't thought of is I think it was Duke Johnson retired a couple weeks ago, a month ago. But another guy recently, Devontae Parker as well. Guys that have had years to wow us, we're not wowed. They're not even relevant, and they're just retiring. Like, okay, were you still in the league is kind of the question I ask. Devontae Parker, really? Well, talk about anticlimactic career. Props to these guys though for even making it to the NFL. I guess that's more than you and I could say, right, Jim? Or anybody listening.
I'm training right now. They're gonna put me in, coach. Put me in, coach.
Yeah, I know there's a bunch of teams that need running backs. So yeah, we're gonna get into the running backs. One more thing I want to talk about here. This is what I hate. One thing I hate is nepotism. Where if you guys don't know, it's where like LeBron, he's getting his son into the NBA. Son is not talented at all. He's not even a top prospect, coming out of college. I think he averages like 5 points a game, like under 2 rebounds or something. Like it's crazy. Like his stats are ridiculously low. But it's the nepotism. But I also hate is like the athlete or rich privilege where kind of everybody just gets away with everything. So as of right now, the Chiefs wide receiver, Rosh Rice, how he had that multi-car collision accident which endangered people's lives. There's 8 pending felony charges, first and foremost, on him. If it was you and I would think that you and I would be first of all, wouldn't we not be in jail if there's 8 pending felony charges? I would think we'd be in jail. Yes or no?
Well, unless you made bail. But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, and he also beat up that photographer. He's also got that thing going on too. It's a totally separate
Well,
incident.
no, that's what I want to talk about. Sorry, Jim, let me interrupt there. So the photographer drops charges against Rashi Rice. So that's what I'm saying. Why would you drop the charges? I don't care how much you get paid. So apparently they're at a nightclub in
I'll
Dallas.
tell you why. I'll tell you why.
Money. He's flashing the money.
Make it go away. Rashi wrote a little check to him, said, "Here you go," and the guy's like, "Okay, cool, we're cool."
I wouldn't accept the check, man. I don't care how much money it is. This is about integrity, man. It's about like you smashed me in the face, and then I'm gonna go after you for more, man. Like it's crazy, and I guess it's all alleged and all this stuff. But anyway, I just wanted to mention that the charges have been dropped from the photographer, which is ridiculous, and that's the type of stuff that really absolutely pisses me off. It's like if you and I had done this, we'd be gone. So. Anyway, that's kind of in the news here. Again, there's other people holding out. We can go on forever with news. Justin Jefferson has been absent from voluntary OTAs. He wants to negotiate a contract. Again, I think
he is due for a contract extension. So I'm sure that's probably part of it. So
CeeDee Lamb is not expected to participate in organized activities. And that's another thing, right? Like, this is what I don't like. It's like big babies. Like, you haven't paid me yet? I'm not going to show up. I'm not showing up. Okay, that's what I don't like, man. It's like, why don't you just be a man and just be like, hey, man, what am I getting paid? Okay, then, participate. And if they don't pay you, then don't show up. But we're just gonna hold that. We're just gonna stand right here till we get paid.
Well, OTAs are not mandatory, so it's not a big deal. I say this is kind of a minor deal right now. These guys already know. They already know they're going to make the team. They already know they're established as the premier receiver on that team. This is not really something that they need to participate in. It would only make me nervous as if when we finally get to actual training camp that they're not participating. That's when it would be a concern for me. But I don't think it's a big deal.
All right, so let's get right to it then. I want to move on to, are we passing? Are we drafting? Or are we passing? You can have them. You can have the player. Let's get right into the show. We're talking running backs as well. So I'm going to pull up the first running back. And these are guys that I'm questioning. But first guy I want to pull him up here is Zach Moss, Jim. ADP 112, round 9 for a potential RB1. Years to wow us, we're not wowed. And he did okay with the absence of Jonathan Taylor last year. Zach Moss, are we drafting? Are we passing? Well, let's have a discussion here about him.
Well, it's let's just say last year he did great. Look, he had a total of 220 opportunities with the ball, 183 carries, 37 targets. He turned that into almost 1,000 scrimmage yards, 7 touchdowns,
Right.
basically in relief of the oft-injured Jonathan Taylor. And now he goes into a much better situation. I mean, I think on a comparative basis, I think that Cincinnati's a better team than Indianapolis.
Right.
And he's pretty much the only running back in that backfield. I mean, I know there's also Chase Brown, right? Is the guy behind him.
He's kind of that upside rookie sleeper kind of guy.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Chase Brown didn't do much last year. He didn't do much with his opportunities last year. So I do see a volume opportunity here. I see that he's going to be the clear one. It's going to be over 200 touches and targets, and on a good offense that has really good receivers, so they can't just pack the box and make him go nowhere. I liked him enough that I drafted him in the Dynasty League. I took him in the Dynasty League. I think he's going to be a great RB2 for me. So but that's where I'm at with him. I think he's a fine draft pick this year.
I think he's safe. They improved their O-line with the first overall pick. They did that. Healthy Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase to spread that field. There's a huge opportunity for Zach Moss to succeed. Chase Brown could be a big time sleeper that could emerge there. It's just that he's one of those running backs that has done nothing, but obviously the Bengals see something in him. They believe in him. It's round 9, which is a fair ADP. So let us know in the comments. Are you guys drafting or passing? Jim, what are you doing? So you're drafting.
Oh yeah. I think he's a great choice for a mid-round running back that has RB2 upside. I think he could be absolutely a solid RB2 every week for you.
Something's telling me he has a good year, but his history shows me he hasn't had good years. He's always the Moss boss. And I think if he was good, he would have really, really shined at this point, because he was on Buffalo and he had the opportunity to be the boss there. And you could say, well, Josh Allen took a lot of the rushing work away and stuff like that, and they had a different offense, and where here he could shine. That's very possible. But you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and pass. You guys can have him. Thank you. Thank you, guys. We definitely need another sound effect for the pass. Something a little more harsh, right? Other than the clap.
Yeah, exactly. You need to, what about the want? Want.
I gotta find
That
that. I don't
one
know what that is. I gotta dig into my my old sound effects here. So I just, I do see the. I want to just say I do see the. I'm hedging my bet here. I do see the upside, but for me, I want to go on record. I'm personally passing. There's just other people I like. Okay, that's it. All right, next guy here. This one has an interesting prospect, and he became more attractive to me after the draft. ADP 42, round 3. We're talking Derrick Henry, the king, on an offense where Lamar Jackson's the RB1. This is going to be interesting, man. He's going to get the volume. There's nobody else there. But round 3, I think it's fair value for the king on a new offense, right?
Yeah, I mean he rates pretty well. Obviously, the big risk is the age risk, as he is 30 this year, and so but Derrick Henry's built different, man. He is a different kind of player. And when you look at the usage that Gus Edwards got on this offense last year, ton of goal line work. I mean, I think that's where Henry's going to absolutely shine, is in the red zone. Lamar Jackson, even though he is a rushing quarterback, he doesn't rush for a lot of touchdowns. He only had 5 last year as compared to Jalen Hurts or Josh Allen, who had 15. So, there is opportunities around the goal line. That's very valuable. He is obviously a force of nature in the run game, so he's going to complement Lamar Jackson's running game and be definitely more effective than someone like Gus Edwards could be.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, I think, I see, I say this again and again, but I see Derrick Henry's career as kind of like a Frank Gore career, where he just keeps playing year after year into his mid and late 30s. He's still going to be on teams. He's still going to be getting a ton of volume, although his effectiveness is going to decline from year to year. But I love the situation. I love where he's at a lot more now than where he was at with Tennessee. He's going to have much more opportunities with this team. It's just a better team, period. So, yeah, I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to be great.
Yeah, I mean, round 3 ADP is good, and especially when we're talking about that twilight zone in between rounds 2 and 4 with wide receivers, guys like Nico Collins, Keenan Allen, all these guys, Stephon Diggs, guys that are uncertain to be the wide receiver 1. You have a little bit of certainty with Derrick Henry round 3. Now, prior to the NFL draft, I was like, let's not try to cross those streams with the old running back, new team. But I guess I could kind of make an exception for Derrick Henry simply because he's the guy there. I mean, he is the guy. Goal line work, like you said, is going to be good. So depending on how my first 2 picks look, depending on how I feel, kind of who's coming off the board, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draft him. What do you think? Draft. So yes, you're in.
Yeah, I would draft him too. Yeah.
Let us know in the comments what you guys think. Lion roar. All right. So yeah, it's Derrick Henry, man. 3 more to go here. And these guys are kind of questionable guys. And to some people in the comments, be like, no, they're not questionable. I'm definitely drafting these guys. Let us know in the comments what you guys think. I want to make this ultra interactive. So smash it, tap it, slap it, get the message out. Full flow fantasy. And we're going to be here 7 a.m. I'll be most days. Jim's going to be here. Tim's going to be here 7 a.m. for your drive. Try to get your content there to keep you guys entertained on the commute. I know I was a commuter for years prior to do fantasy football. It's nice to have someone to listen to, get the up-to-date news. So turn on the bell, smash it, tap it. All right, let's go here, Jim. Next guy here, Devin Singletary. I know you're a fan.
You don't like this guy.
No, average ADP, 107 overall, rounds 8 to 9. He's kinda late round 8. In a position where he actually could succeed this year, what do you think of Devin Suckletary? Are you a fan of him?
Look, again, you're not being fair with Zach Moss and Devin Singletary. First of all, these guys were on the same team sharing a backfield with Josh Allen. It's no wonder they didn't do anything in that
Yeah,
situation. There was no opportunity. There was too many backs, right? But he
yeah,
went to Houston on a 1-year prove-it deal, and he supplanted
yeah,
Dameon Pierce, a younger running back, became the lead running back, was very effective, ended the year with 216 rushing attempts and 38 targets. He had about over 1,000 scrimmage yards. He got 4 touchdowns. That's not great, but he was a very effective back for fantasy last year and a great value from where you got him on the draft board.
right.
I know I had a lot of shares of him. He was very helpful that you could have put him into your flex or your RB2 slot on any given week. And now he's going to a situation where he's basically, I'm not saying that he is a Saquon Barkley, but he's taken over Saquon Barkley's role with the Giants. There's really no one else in that backfield.
Excuse me,
It,
Tyrone Tracy. They drafted
yeah, what is he, like a 5th round draft pick? I'm not worried about a 5th round draft pick.
Tyrone, but Singletary sucks. That's what I'm saying. You know.
But he didn't suck. He was good. He was getting over 4 yards per carry. He had 30 catches. I mean, and now I have to say, everything about his situation team wise is worse with the Giants than it was with Houston. Worse quarterback, worse offensive line, worse coach. I mean, it's all downgrades. But we've seen time and again in the NFL, if you are getting all the work in the backfield, you're gonna be good for fantasy. We see it with Rashad White. Players like that just aren't that good, but they're great for fantasy. And I see the same kind of situation here. He's going to be a volume guy. He's going to get all the work. And I think he's going to be just fine. And I think the team overall will be better than it was last year, especially with Malik Neighbors being there. So they're not going to be as abysmal as they were last season. So
You're not gonna
yeah,
sell me. The thing is, my mentality is you're not gonna sell me on guys that have had years to wow me. I'm not wow. Singletary and Zach Moss. I'm not buying it. But the only thing that works in their favor is they're around 8 to 9 ADP to potentially be RB1s, which again, I think Chase Brown is breathing down Zach Moss's neck, and I think Tyrone Tracy is potentially breathing down the neck of Suckletary. Because Suckletary, the way I view him, is just a scat. He's just a scat back. He's just a scat back. He's like, that's it. He's a complimentary back that's like slightly above par, if anything. He's just, again, maybe it was the Bills. It was when he was on the Bills. He just turned me off. He did nothing there.
Yeah,
I don't know.
again, but how much could you have expected him to do with the competition
Yeah.
between Josh Allen and Zach Moss also being there? I mean, again, it's just it was split 3 ways. There's no fantasy value there, so you didn't want any of those guys. But the first year he gets away from Buffalo, he goes out and he has a great season. I mean, again, you can't deny it. About 1,100 rushing and receiving yards. That's a successful year. That's a good year. And he was good for fantasy. So I think it's going to be, again, a volume situation, and he should be fine for fantasy. He should be a good choice, especially at his ADP.
Yeah, this is the year, man. This is the year that these guys got to do it, man. I mean, like they're in a position to succeed. If they don't, they're absolute garbage. Like I think they are anyway. Next guy here, that I love this guy, man. I love him. You're not a fan, but Zamir White, 75th ADP overall, round 6 value for an RB1, untouched in the NFL draft. When I say untouched, they got nobody else there, and Madison doesn't even count. That guy sucks so bad. He's one of the worst.
Madison doesn't suck so bad. He has been an effective backup his entire career. He's always been good whenever he had to come in for relief for
Right.
Dalvin Cook. And, but he's not a lead back, right? He's not a guy that can carry.
No, he had his chance. Yeah, he had his chance, and he sucks. He's absolute trash. I think he's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I would say he wasn't. It's not as much that he sucked. It's just that he was ineffective, right? He got a lot of volume, and he was okay with it, but I don't think he got any touchdowns. Wasn't that the situation? I don't have his stats in front of me, but
you're too nice, Jim. He sucks. He's trash. He's a garbage player, and I don't like him. I don't care for him. He's good enough to be just a backup. Not enough. He's the perfect blend of like sucking and being just stay put. Let Zamir run. And Zamir ran hard the past 3 weeks of the season. He's going to eat, man. They used him as a workhorse. They got rid of Jacobs willingly. They didn't bring anybody else in. Zamir White is absolutely primed to run over the entire league. He's going to be the guy that's going to shock everybody. And then next year's like, oh, he's a top first round pick. Well, nobody told us Zamir White. Well, Joe told you Zamir. He's that guy. He is him. He is him. You'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I've told you my concern with him, and you know what? He rates good on the app. He rates good. His cutting score is pretty good on the app. But I just want to reiterate: last year he only had 104 carries, and that was basically all in the final 4 weeks of the season. So
Exactly.
the
That's
season
when they're like,
before, the
that was
season
a
before
trial period.
2022, he had 17 carries. Okay, so this dude hasn't even had 150 carries yet in his career in the NFL, and now he's going to be a workhorse. I have seen too many instances of these kind of players, the ones that come on right at the end of the season, the final 4 or 6 weeks, and they come out and they look just like bonkers awesome. They look
Yeah.
so great. And then the next year happens and they don't do a thing. And I
Nah.
think it's mostly because they're coming in fresh with like nice fresh legs right at the end of the season when everyone else is tired and worn
Uh,
out and have been playing for 3 months and so they're not up to they're not at 100% and you know when he I mean we're going to see what happens, man. Can he carry it over to this year when everybody's got fresh legs at the beginning of the season and still do what he did last year? Like I said, he rates well on the app. He's a good value. And but I am just very nervous about that kind of a player. And so I have been staying away from him. Did you got Zamir on the Dynasty League, right? Didn't you
oh,
get
I love
Zamir?
him. I'm all over
Right,
him.
and I thank you for taking him because we pick right next to each other. I'm Counselor is 6th, I'm 7th, so we've been picking right next to each other the whole draft. And
I love
I
him.
thanked him. I said thank you for taking him off the board because I was probably going to have to take him on my pick, and I end up not having to worry about it. So you took it. I'm happy for you. Good luck.
Well, I think your theory is hogwash with players not doing well because David Johnson, we were talking about him prior to the show, he came on in 2015. I asked him to endorse the brand in just that summer. I think it was summer 2016 before the season started. He went off in 2015, and then I saw the promise, and the team saw the promise. Then he tore it up in 2016, and the same thing's happening here. He shined when the time came. He had the attempts. He had over 100 yards, multiple games, and that's when the Raiders had an aha moment that said, "We've got our guy. He's very capable." And they didn't have to waste a draft pick. They didn't have to bring anybody else. They're gonna ride him, and he's got way more upside than a guy like Zach Moss. And you're paying for it. You're paying an extra 3 rounds to get it. I'm super excited about Zach Moss. I mean, sorry, Zamir White, not Zach Moss. Zamir White. I got too much Zach Moss on it.
Well,
I'm
you know what? We're going head to head week 1, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to be starting Zach Moss in the same slot
okay.
that you're going to be starting Zamir White, and we'll just see we'll see what happens. We'll see how it goes. So there you go.
And it's going to take probably more. I'm not doubting Zamir White, but let's take a consensus 3 to 4 week average and see who does. I mean, 1 week couldn't gauge anything. I mean, Zach Moss could have a bad game week 1. I think we need to see a trend 3 to 4 weeks because I really think Chase Brown could even take that job. Whereas I don't think Alexander Madison's a threat to Zamir White. So that's the difference. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I see more of a. I think it's probably going to be probably a 70-30 split. I think Madison's going to be involved. Just it will be primarily Zamir's backfield. Like I said, he rates good on the app, but me personally, I just have been burned too many times. The last year, Cam Akers was like the same kind of thing. The prior season,
Yeah.
the final 6 weeks, he looked like a absolute RB1
Right.
superstar. I drafted him in a bunch of leagues, and then he did nothing. Nothing. And he got cut from the team. He got
Yeah.
cut for Kyron. He got beat by Kyron. So
We'll see.
it just makes me nervous. So
Well, that's what makes
that's all I'm saying.
fantasy so much fun. So it makes it fun. Last guy here, I have so many question marks. I don't even want to start here. Jahmyr Gibbs. Okay, listen. First and foremost, this breaks my heart. It really breaks my heart that I may actually pass on him this year, and I have been. It breaks my heart because I was the ambassador of him. I was the one that loved him. I was all in on him, but I was also the one that was frustrated last year when I saw Montgomery come out on the first drive of every play of the Detroit Lions, and he would not go away. And what really pissed me off, Jim, it just kicks me right in the nuts here with Jahmyr Gibbs, is that when Montgomery got hurt last year, where's that applause? Where's that applause? Well, Joe, you're cheering on injury. No, I'm just cheering on that my starting running back that I invested high draft capital got to play. Okay, so quiet with that. So yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs had the opportunity to shine, and he absolutely tore it up. Like this guy, like you don't need to tell him to speed up. You need to tell him to slow down. I think I heard the coaches somewhere I was reading that like, we need to get him to slow down. He's so good. Like he's so good. And you're playing the lackluster, mediocre David Montgomery. It just blows my mind. And he had more rushing attempts. And now obviously you're hearing reports that Jahmyr Gibbs is going to get an increase in load. Yes, but Montgomery is still there, and they're going to play him. They're going to use him. And even if Montgomery goes down, what do you have, like 200 some odd attempts, 220, whatever it was. Even if Montgomery's at 150 attempts, that's enough to piss me off. Even if Jahmyr Gibbs finishes in the top 10, which he is, it still pisses me off because he's not hitting his potential ceiling. And I think guys like Breece and Bijan are going to have less of a committee, can hit a higher ceiling. That's why I may be passing on Jahmyr Gibbs. Jim, I'm annoyed with this situation. He's a first-round pick, but I've never seen this before. He's a first-round pick, and he's the RB2 on paper going in.
I don't think he is the RB2.
Yes.
I mean, you got to think last year he ended up for fantasy. He was the RB7 on the year. So he was good. He did great. And you got to think about also that they didn't use him a whole lot for like the first month and a half of the season. They were kind of ramping up his usage. But by the end of the season, you saw his role on the team. Now, backfield by committees is just the way of the NFL nowadays. There's really no workhorses left, but he is going to get all the high value touches and targets. He's going to be the primary receiving back. He's going to be the primary goal line back. That's all I need to hear. He could easily be a top 5 back, even with Montgomery being in that backfield. I got no problem with taking him. I think he's going to be fantastic. I mean, we've got him marked as a 16 rounder player. And if I'm in a situation where we're at the end of the first round and he's still sitting there on the board, Breece is gone, Bijan is gone. And you're like picking between him and maybe like Amon-Ra or Garrett Wilson, I'll take Jahmyr Gibbs. I think he's going to be perfectly fine this year. And it's such a great team. I'm excited about Detroit. I think they're going to be great this year. And I think he's going to be a big part of it.
So, yeah, I mean, I've got him in 16 rounds. He's a 16 rounder, but there is an asterisk star beside him. Draft with anxiety caution, because you're saying he's not the RB1, but when that first drive comes out and you see Montgomery's jersey on the first drive, that's going to make me want to smash my TV. And for that reason alone, I don't care if it's like he comes out for the first drive and you never see Montgomery for the rest of the entire. This how stubborn I am about this, Jim. Montgomery comes out for the first drive and it's Jahmyr Gibbs every other drive after that going into the season. Just knowing that it's about what's the word I'm trying to? It's about principle. It's maybe it's my ego, but it's like if I draft a guy in round 1. And I see another running back, and I see another running back coming out on the first drive as the RB1. No, I can't do it. I can't accept that. That's not acceptable for me. No. So if you're okay with that, then go ahead and draft Jahmyr Gibbs. But don't come crying to me, hey, Uncle Joe, hey, Uncle Jim, I see David Montgomery, and there he is on the first drive, and he's not going away. And hold on. He stole goal line carries because he had more goal line rushing touchdowns than Jahmyr Gibbs last year. He had way more. What do you have, like 13 goal line touchdowns? Those 13 touchdowns should be going to Gibbs, the RB1, with your precious first-round pick. I'm not going to see whoever Breece is back, Israel Abdelkader, coming around the goal line stealing from Breece. I'm not going to see that, right? Maybe Braylon Allen or whatever, who they got. Maybe.
Right, Braylon Allen, yeah.
But it's still, I just feel Montgomery's annoying. Do you guys get the point, right? Like, do you feel it? Like, let's see what the studio audience think. What do you guys think of Jahmyr Gibbs round one? Let's see what they have to say.
See, I just think that we're talking about. I think Gibbs is going to get around 300 touches and targets. That's all. That's more than what you could ever want from a first round pick. He's gonna be fine. He's gonna be good. Yes, Montgomery is still going to be there, but Montgomery is going to have a shrinking role on this team, and Gibbs is going to have an expanding role. So that's where I'm at with it. I'm not concerned about Gibbs. I'm not concerned about Montgomery. I know he's there, and I know he's going to be there. He's going to be part of this team, as we've seen. But it's going to be more and more so Gibbs as the primary back. Gibbs is going to be the one that's going to get all the high volume and the high value in that backfield. He's the one you want. They could use Montgomery all they want between the 20s, right? Which I think is primarily what he's going to be. He's going to be a between the 20s kind of guy. And
I don't want to be.
Those aren't valuable touches. Those aren't valuable touches. Gibbs is going to get the valuable touches.
We could talk about this all day. I want him to be a I'm warming your bench for Jahmyr Gibbs kind of guy. So, and I think Montgomery knows. I really do. I'll leave this with this. I think Montgomery really knows Jahmyr Gibbs is the man, because when I was talking smack about David Montgomery, he actually DM'd me, and he basically said like, "Yo, what's up?" I got to pull up that DM here before I let everybody go here. So, I'm gonna pull up David Montgomery and go to my DM here. But he's actually, I think he is a little like, oh, I could lose my job, So
yeah, I mean, they're paying him $6 million a year. So, I think he knows he's got a role in this offense, but I think he also knows that he's not the best running back on that team.
So here's what he said. I'll leave this to this. So I think even though Dave Montgomery is going to be a pest this year, and that's why I might be fading Gibbs, because I don't like Montgomery there. So Dave Montgomery did DM me. It was in January. I was talking smack about him in a post, and I said that he sucks. He should be on the bench. And then he basically DM'd me, like with a funny face. He goes, "You a funny guy." That's him right there. I'm putting it up on the screen. This thing doesn't zoom. He goes, "You a funny guy." That really is him. It's not zooming in. And he goes, "Not personal." I go, "I am a Gibbs owner. I'm sure you can understand. But I said, go Gibbs. I'm rooting for my guy." Okay. He goes, "That's cool, but you don't have to disrespect me, boss." And I said, "Well, I'm a Gibbs guy, basically." So that's really him. That's
okay.
I wish you would kind of zoom in, but it's not. There it is.
No, but it's all blurry. I can't see anything there.
People like, "That's not really him. We don't believe you." DM me. I'll send you a screenshot. But anyway, but yeah, man, it's like I want to leave it at that. He's a question mark for me. I got unless Dave Montgomery gets hurt in the offseason, then yeah, I'm going to be fading him potentially. That's it, Jim. That's a lot of talking, man. That's a lot of stuff covered here. Lots.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm glad you're doing okay. I'm glad your mouth is better there.
Better.
I think you just need to. You've all this stuff's going on, man. You need like a break. You need like
there's no break
weekend to recover. Just take a breath. Reset.
I gotta call Deshaun Watson, ask him where his massage parlors are. I need a massage before the before the fantasy football blitz. Maybe I'll call Watson and see what he says.
I'll tell you what, man. I've been looking at those zero gravity massage chairs. I don't know if you've ever seen those things. They look like a giant egg, and they kind of lean you back, and they've got the rollers and these airbags that compress, and they're really nice. They're very nice, and I'm like, I think that would be a big increase to our quality of life to have one of those things. I've been lobbying for it, but they're very expensive.
Oh my God, they started like $12,000.
Oh no, not that much. I mean, usually around $2,000 to $4,000 is where I've seen most of them.
Okay, I saw one for 4,000. I see one for 4,000. But I see this other one. It's like it almost looks like you're in like a little rocket ship or something like that. That's like
exactly. And it's got little. You put your forearms in, and it's got the airbags both on top and below, and it gives you like little massage on your hands and forearms and stuff. It feels great. Those things are really nice. Maybe you need to invest in one of those.
You should have never told me about this. Now I'm on it. All right, there it is. I'll be on my massage show. We should actually do it while during the podcast. I'll be like, oh yeah, that's great. Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
I know what Deshaun Watson feels like right now.
You can't get mad or hyped up when you're in one of those things. It's very relaxing. It's very nice. So
Yeah. All right, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the commute, the drive with us. Turn on the bell, subscribe, and thanks, Jim. We're out, man. We appreciate it, guys.
thank you, Kelsey.
I gotta go for a massage.